The art of cutting great promos is a very hard skill to master. After all, not everyone can be a CM Punk or an MJF on the mic.
I'm the best in the world!
But these WWE superstars we'll be looking at today fumble their promos so bad it makes us fans go,
What?
Whether it's bad writing or just completely forgetting the lines, these are the most confusing WWE promos in recent history. Be sure to stick around till the end of the video for a bonus non-WWE entry. Sufferin Succotash. From the big dog to the tribal chief, not many wrestlers have had a better glow up than Roman Reigns. Even comparing his old promos to the more recent ones, it's definitely night and day. I mean, the man was embarrassed by John Cena on the mic at one point.
It's called a promo, kid, and if you want to be the big dog, you're gonna have to learn how to do it.
One of the best or worst examples of this was his now infamous 2015 promo. While Seth Rollins was out in the ring poking fun at his rivals, the big dog would come out and interrupt him saying that his former Shield brethren was full of something, and then he proceeds to utter this tongue twister of a line.
Sniveling little suck-up sellout full of Sufferin Succotash, son! Huh?
Seth's reaction says it all, and Roman would break the fourth wall remarking that he knew that wasn't easy to say, and wink at the camera almost like an I took one for the team nod. Reigns should have come off as this badass, no-nonsense babyface, but instead, they made him quote Looney Tunes. To this day, this one promo still haunts the tribal chief, which goes to show how sometimes it's just better to let someone do their own thing on the mic rather than some overly scripted BS. Bobby Lashley can't sing. Lashley's second run in the WWE almost ended in disaster because creative just can't seem to book the almighty right. Early into his run, he was put in some of the cringiest, most nonsensical segments on Raw. Remember Lashley's sisters? Yeah, I wish I didn't. But perhaps the most confusing promo he delivered during this time was on a 2018 segment on Raw where he interrupted Elias only to be challenged to a duet to the classic song Rockin' Robin. Elias nailed this part, but Lashley, not so much. He completely forgot some of the lyrics to the song and ended up awkwardly humming till the chorus.
This is the worst!
I'm sure we can all relate to that at some point, right? Elias would end up blindsiding Lashley, but after that atrocity we just witnessed, I can't really blame him. It was so bad they had to edit out the entire part of Lashley singing from the WWE Network version. Lashley would later reveal on an interview that he didn't want to do it in the first place. It's a testament then to how great of a wrestler Lashley is that he managed to turn his career around even after all that crap creative put him through. I guess you could say he ended it on a high note. Speaking of high, Matt Riddle can be described as, for the lack of a better word, a very out there guy. While he's more known for being that goofball who talks about the most nonsensical stuff, the original broke and turn it up and cut intense work shoot promos when needed. Talk about versatility. But for someone who seems to be smoked out of his mind all the time, you'd be surprised he's only had one notable promo blunder in the WWE. It happened on a 2021 backstage segment on Raw. Riddle and Asuka were supposed to be having a casual conversation about scooters. But then, Riddle forgets what he was about to say next and blatantly goes,
I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying.
And then just scoots away. It was so perfectly in character and not at the same time that they just kept on rolling and Asuka was left alone, confused as to what just happened like everyone else watching. Never change, Matt Riddle. Titus O'Neil drowns in his promo. There's a reason why Titus O'Neil is a global ambassador for the WWE. He's a great human being and he has one of the greatest Royal Rumble moments ever. But when it comes to promos, he's just not it. Back in 2016, Titus O'Neil was supposed to cut a simple heel promo to promote his feud with Darren Young. But as soon as he uttered his very first line, everything went downhill real quick.
The New Day talking about winning the WWE Tag Team Champions, becoming the WWE Tag Team Champions.
You can visibly see him struggle to remember his lines whilst trying to make a coherent statement. Titus did manage to pick up the slack eventually, kinda, but there was no salvaging it after what the fans had just witnessed. It was painful to watch, but even more confusing as to why WWE didn't just pull the plug on the promo and have Bob Backlund come out as soon as they heard his first few lines. My guess is that the boss was probably having a laugh at his expense backstage, that's why. Tamina steals Charlotte's line. What do you do when you forget your lines on live television? Well, just say the same thing the other person just said before you. And that's exactly what Tamina did on a June 2017 episode of SmackDown. SmackDown Live GM Daniel Bryan was out in the ring along with the other women who competed for the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match to address the state of the briefcase after James Ellsworth's involvement. But before that, the women would say their piece with Charlotte telling Natalya to shut up or else she'll make Natty's face look like Ellsworth. It was a solid dig that got the crowd's reaction. But then, when it came time for Tamina to speak, she'd say the exact same thing Charlotte just said.
You need to be quiet or you're gonna start looking like Ellsworth.
And the crowd went dead silent. It was so cringe as fuck. Even the other people in the ring paused for a second in confusion. Tamina either forgot her line or she was supposed to say the same thing but forgot to put the inflection. My guess is the latter, but I'm glad we got this hilariously awkward moment out of it. The Genesis of McGillicutty. Being a third generation wrestler doesn't guarantee success in the WWE, and Curtis Axel is probably a living proof of that. But before he was dressing up as the Hulkster and forming odd teams with Ryback or Bo Dallas, Mr. Perfect Jr. started off as an NXT rookie known as Michael McGillicutty. Back when NXT was still on its game show format, Axel was one of the participants for the 2011 season and actually made it as far as the final 2. But he would end up losing to Kaval, also known as Loki. And so after hearing this loss, he would be interviewed by Matt Striker, and what followed was one of the most baffling promos in WWE history. To his credit, Axel kinda started off strong, showing his disgust to the fans for not winning. But for whatever reason, it just spiraled down faster than Austin Theory's push towards the end, with him saying,
And starting this moment, from this moment on, this will be the moment, starting now, of the Genesis of McGillicutty.
Tis confusion!
You know when you try to write a report or an essay and you just needed to squeeze in that last bit of word count required? This is what that felt like. Good Lucha things. Ah, poor Kalisto. His most memorable moment in the WWE would forever be this now infamous backstage promo. After being drafted to SmackDown during the 2016 draft, Kalisto was interviewed backstage where he was asked the simple question, what can we expect from you at SmackDown Live? But then Kalisto's brain decided to turn heel on him at that very moment, and he stumbled upon his words trying to think of an answer, saying,
make a good lucha thing.
What?
And so, the iconic Good Lucha Things was born. The best part was after saying it, he goes, and then just runs away in embarrassment like a real pro. Truly one of the moments of 2016. In fact, it was such a so bad it's good moment that WWE even recreated the whole thing 2 years later. But this time, Kalisto got it right. Ronda Rousey gets eaten alive by fans. You have to feel bad for Ronda. WWE fans seem to turn on her just as quickly as she rose to the top, with many criticizing her bad promo skills. But this was thanks in large part due to apraxia, a rare motor speech disorder she suffered from as a child. It basically made cutting promos an uphill battle, and the fan reaction did not help either, as we saw during a January 2019 episode of Raw. Ronda came out to address her win at that year's Royal Rumble, but the hostile crowd wasn't having it. She tries to say her piece, but as the boos got louder and people started chanting for Becky, Ronda eventually succumbed to the pressure, and she would end up stuttering her lines.
I want to thank Sasha being get better today than she was just...
With her confidence clearly shaken at this point, Ronda can do nothing but awkwardly tease the crowd with her microphone, and she just stood there looking like a deer in the headlights. Now she would end up watching more promos later in her career.
Challenge for the title at SummerSlam? No, wait, no. Royal Rumble, that's a lot sooner.
But this one stood out as the most confusing one. Scott Steiner's Matt promo. The mother of all confusing promos and quite possibly the greatest promo in professional wrestling history. I just had to include it in the list. On TNA's Go Home episode right before the Sacrifice 2008 pay-per-view, Scott Steiner and P.T. Williams were backstage being interviewed before their tag match against Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe. If Matt was taught like this in school, I would have listened more. Well, anyway, what is the most confusing wrestling promo you've ever seen? Sound off in the comments below. Till the next video, peace.